I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Congressman Morgan McGarvey. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to speak with you because on February 3rd, President Donald Trump signed an executive order calling for the creation of a U.S. sovereign wealth fund. You introduced legislation related to the fund that I do want to talk about in a second. But before we get there, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings on an American sovereign wealth fund?
Yeah, I'm excited about the prospect of a sovereign wealth fund. I mean, this is something we could use to do some really big, bold things in this country. But it really matters. It matters how we build it. It matters what we do with it. It matters who's in charge of it, what measures are in place. So again, it's something that could be really great, but we've got to do it the right way.
So that leads me to your legislation, which you introduced last week. It's called the American Sovereign Wealth Fund Exploration Act of 2025. Talk to us about that. What would exactly that do?
Yeah, and you and I've talked about these before, and this is an economic tool, but it's a tool. A hammer is a tool. You can use a hammer to put a nail in a wall. Don't use your hammer to fix your iPad. And so how we use it matters. How you build this thing matters. So one of the things I stress in my legislation is, first of all, let's learn the lessons from the people who've done it wrong and the people who've done it right. You got to have transparency. You have to have accountability. You have to have oversight. I also think as the president is talking about this, it's really important we put this into legislation. And the reason I want to do this in legislation is not only should we not have just one person in charge of it. We've seen examples in Malaysia and other places where one person being in charge of a sovereign wealth fund is a disaster, but the executive orders don't have the force of law, meaning another president could come in 4 years from now and undo the sovereign wealth fund. And so we've got to build it up right. We've got to make sure it's a long term. We've got to make sure it has that oversight and accountability through multiple bodies.
So let's talk about looking around the globe, because dozens of sovereign wealth funds globally are managing trillions of dollars. Is there anyone that you would want to replicate? Is there any more cautionary tales? I mean, what exactly does that look like?
Yeah, there have been several really good ones we've looked at. Norway has, I think, sort of the gold standard of sovereign wealth funds. Alaska has a really great sovereign wealth fund. So this is not just something that foreign entities do. We have states with sovereign wealth funds right here in America. But because of the cautionary tales, because of places like Malaysia, like Venezuela, like others, there's been a group internationally that has developed guiding principles for how you should set up a sovereign wealth fund. They're called the Santiago Principles. We looked heavily at these when crafting this legislation and putting together this group to look at creating an American sovereign wealth fund, because we want to make sure that there is independence, that there is oversight, that those things are there.
And obviously, independence is paramount here, and your legislation would create a 25-person commission. Who exactly would be in that commission?
Yeah, so we would have several representatives, and largely the Fed's going to be involved because there is independence there. And so we want that congressional oversight, but we want to have independence as well. And that gets, again, that independence, that accountability, that transparency, the oversight is really important to this.
And I'm curious, do you have bipartisan support in this so far? What have your colleagues been saying?
Yeah, I think there is bipartisan interest in this because, again, this is an idea. This is an idea that, can we do it? Does America have enough resources there, enough things that we can responsibly put money into a sovereign wealth fund? This can't be a slush fund for billionaires. This has got to be something we can grow. Norway did it, of course, because they have so many natural resources that they can then tax and put those into the sovereign wealth fund. Can we do it here in this country? If we can do it, then how are we going to build it so that it actually is run correctly? And I think there is real bipartisan support with it. Now, I imagine that if it actually works, if we actually create it, then there'll be some fighting over what the sovereign wealth fund is used to support. But that's okay. We can get to that once we build it.